It's time again for Talking Trade, sponsored by MMAC's World Trade Association and Michael Best Strategies.
Welcome to Talking Trade. I'm Sandi Siegel, president of ME-Day.
And I'm Ken Wasylik, Managing Director of EM Wasylik Associates. We're a international business development company. Today's guest is Mark Dodsworth from Europartnerships. Mark is an experienced consultant and international business developer, working with multiple companies entering the UK market on various fronts. And I know Mark that has worked with many US companies and Wisconsin-based companies. And so welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks very much, Ken. Very pleased to be here, and Sandi, delighted to be here.
Well, the UK has really been in the news lately with how many prime ministers has it been this year? And with the fall of the pound against the dollar and the volatility and all that, how are UK businesses handling this volatility and uncertainty, current situation?
I think over the last few years, UK businesses have been hit very hard by a number of major events, most of them unforeseen. Of course, COVID-19, the Ukraine war, and Brexit. And these have caused a number of serious disruptions, which have led to, for example, 11% inflation as of today. Rising interest rates, exchange rate volatility, supply shortages, energy price rises, shortages of labor, and consumer spending under pressure. So despite this, the UK economy has proved to be fairly resilient. After falling 9% in 2020, inevitably due to COVID, the GDP actually rose 7% in 2021, and the level of quarterly GDP in Q3 22, so the one we're in now, is only 0.4% below its pre-COVID level as of Q4 2019. So at the moment, things are not too bad, but they are likely to get a lot worse. And there are major concerns about a prolonged recession in 2023-24. Now, our unemployment rate is only 3.5%, which is pretty good. And that reflects the absence of a large number of available European workers since Brexit. This has had a big effect on unemployment. Business confidence is inevitably suffering. The CBI, that's our employers organization, has a quarterly gauge of manufacturing optimism in UK. And in Q4 2024, it's got its lowest reading since Q2 2020. So it's been remaining in negative territory for the last 4 consecutive quarters. So as I say, things are not thought to be going well. Some sectors are affected more. Yeah, sorry.
Well, yeah, can we talk a little bit more about Brexit, which you touched on, and obviously that's been a huge impact on international trade. I know for customers we work with on freight forwarding and customs brokerage, many of our customers had distribution centers in the UK that serviced all of Europe. And now, of course, trade from the UK to Europe involves a customs entry because you're not part of the European Union. I know my friends in the UK have shared, my forwarding friends, it's affected the trucking industry because of the exodus of Eastern European workers and so forth, as you say. So it's had a lot of effect on moving goods within Europe.
It has.
Are you seeing a lot of shifts from many U.S. companies that had distribution centers and European offices in the UK? Are those being moved out as well, which I'm sure is further impacting the economy?
No, there's certainly been some movement, and countries like Holland and the Irish Republic have done quite well from some companies that have been hedging their bets and moving, not necessarily lock, stock and barrel, but they're certainly opening up companies nearby just to be on the safe side, really. I think that's, they're covering their bets and making sure that they do have a base within the EU, but that doesn't mean they're leaving their UK base or their UK operation. They're certainly not doing that. It's more a kind of maintaining a kind of a safety net, just in case things should get bad over the coming months and years.
Sure. Okay. Interesting.
Well, good. Well, where there's uncertainty and chaos, there's always opportunities, and we optimistic individuals always look for those gems in the chaos. Where do you see those gems or opportunities for Wisconsin American companies in the UK today?
I would say that places not to look, let's just quickly deal with those. Hospitality is not a good place to be at the moment, so don't look at hospitality. FMCG, although there are some better off consumers that have saved money during COVID and are now wanting to spend it, it is going to have an impact on consumer goods. And that does need careful research. It doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities, but it does mean careful research rather than just diving in. Public sector is going to be tricky due to some drastic government cuts which are planned. And of course, the inflationary pressures which are affecting education and health and so on. Now, where are the more positive signs? Well, the exchange rate is very favorable for you. Today I saw that it was a $1.19 to the pound, down from $1.35 a year ago. So that's a 15% movement thereabouts. Sectors offering opportunities at the moment that you can look at. Fintech, I would highlight, digital transformation. Anything to do with EVs, EV rollout and charging infrastructure, a very good area to go. Energy efficiency, especially in the built environment, and healthcare and life sciences, and above all, look at the private sector. Don't focus only on the public sector where things are going to be tough. The private sector is more resilient. That's where the money is. Just generally, yeah, nuclear is an interesting one. I don't know whether you have any providers to the nuclear industry. That's going to go well. And one very unusual one that only just appeared recently is anything to do with poultry and eggs. We've got avian flu and we have a shortage of eggs. So this is maybe a very specific opportunity for Wisconsin to step in, given its dairy and food background. I don't know. And finally, M&As, of course. It's a good time to be merging and acquiring because of the exchange rate advantages. So bear that in mind.
Absolutely. Well, trade with UK has always been obviously an important trading partner for the US, and I know we continue to look for different opportunities. Are there any areas that you see your government focusing on in new trade policy and where you're trying to strengthen allies? Or I know, we're trying to connect with our allies in regards to our concerns with China and so forth. Any comments on that?
A very serious effort being made to get this FTA with yourselves, hampered by the post-Brexit problems over Northern Ireland. And we know that it won't go forward until there can be some kind of satisfactory agreement, which the US and the Irish Republic are happy with. So it is tied to political factors. But once that's sorted, the FTA should be in place. And that will help things enormously. But generally, there is a desire to reduce some dependency on Europe and to look for third markets. Canada is doing very well with us at the moment. The former Commonwealth countries, Australia, New Zealand, and so on. So this means that the US will always be very much up there in the frame. And I know Wisconsin, I was reading just today that the UK is your 6th largest destination for Wisconsin exports. That's amazing, and I didn't know that. And that's held up reasonably well over the last 2 or 3 years. So there is this history of a relationship between Wisconsin and the UK, which I'm sure you can build on.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, a strong partner for our office and a fair amount of trade in both directions. Terrific. Great insight, especially, you're there and, amidst the day-to-day news and what's going on in the economy and Brexit. So thanks for your perspective, Mark. Really great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Mark, thanks again for being on the show. And I know you always have a good insight. We've always in the past in that EV, I've heard about that there's a massive government effort of the electric vehicles and just the build out of the infrastructure. And there's a number of Wisconsin companies that could take advantage of that build out over the next 5 to 10 years.
We've done a study, Ken, which I'm happy to share with you in a slightly edited version, which looks at the opportunities in the EV charging infrastructure area. So I will share that with you, and you're very welcome to share that with any listeners or viewers that might be interested.
Great.
Terrific. Okay, Mark, thanks again, and thanks for joining us on another episode of Talking Trade.
Thank you very much. Okay, all the best. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Talking Trade, sponsored by MMAC's World Trade Association and Michael Best Strategies.